Hi, it's Johannes from Noisebud, and I'm back with an. It's not a new plugin; it's an old plugin, but I have ported it to Mac and I have ported it to 64-bit Windows, so everyone can use it. And it's my old mastering EQ Chokidar that looks like this. And the thing with this EQ that made it special once upon a time was that it was 100% level compensated, which was rare at the time. Today it's not that rare, so that's not a USP anymore. It's not a selling point anymore. But another thing is that these filters are a bit special with this one. It's completely flat, which can be good sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. I like how this sound, and the thing that I like with this EQ is that it's I get the same feeling as when I'm working with analog gear because I get results so quick with it. And that's one good thing with all, either if it's hardware or software, it's just quick to work with. And you're not supposed to do big changes. You probably have another EQ that before Chokidar. This is towards the end of your chain. Like sometimes most people put a backside equalizer right in front of the limiter after compression and everything, and Chokidar is meant to be at the same place. It's not the same function as a Baxendal, and I'm not saying that. I'm not comparing it to that, but it's made for small changes lost in the chain, just to like that little spice at the end. That's what this is doing. All right, so let's see how this thing sounds. I'm just gonna play a track and really quick gonna do some adjustment, and then we do a before and after comparison, and you be the judge if you think it sounds okay or not. So let's go. Let's say that I'm happy with this, and we'll wait until the music starts again. So, okay, here comes the before. And the after. Before. And after. So I haven't been able, or I haven't had the time to write the manual or update the manual for this. So I will do that as soon as I have the time, and then I will put a link, like in the other plugins, link to the manual in the plugin, so you can reach that easily. Just a really quick walkthrough so you can use this. First, let's start from the bottom and up, and we start with the 3 bands. This is gain control for if you just want to boost the mid. You drag to the left, and if you want to affect the sides, you do it like that to the sides. Then we have another gain up here, and this will change the gain on both the mid and the side. So with the control at the bottom, it's either the mid or the side, and with this control, it's both. And up here, you choose which frequency we should. And these are a low shelf and a high shelf, so you will affect everything below the frequency that's in here and above the frequency that you set with this knob. And the mid band, you have a little Q control. This is new. We didn't have that before. So here's a little Q control, so it controls the width of the band. Otherwise, it works like the low and the high shelf filters. So here you control the mid or the side, and here both the mid and the side. And to the left, we have high pass filter, and it's pretty basic. You activate it, and this LED lids up, and then you can set the frequency where you want the high pass to be. And if you activate this thing here in the middle, if you activate that, then you're just going to affect the sides, so the mid will not be filtered. And then we have a low pass filter that you can activate with this knob, and you set the frequency. You have a dry wet control, so that you can use it in parallel or completely wet. You have a bunch of meters above the peak and VU LEDs. Here you have a LUFS momentary value for post the EQ, and to the right it's the before processing. So you can compare that and see if they differs. They shouldn't differ too much because it's level compensated. But it can be interesting to see sometimes material can be perceived as a lot louder, even if they measure the same. So that's why I put them there. And then you have a little smooth control here. That is an experimental feature. It's a kind of a low pass filter, but instead of actually running the audio through a filter, it's running through a process that won't allow movement in the waveform above a certain frequency. It's pretty much the same as a filter, but it's another method of achieving the same. It's quite interesting to use that. It's good on S's or sibilants, for instance. Sounds a bit better. And then you have the bypass button. So when it's to the right, it's bypassed, and when to the left, it's active. And then we have a delta function, so you can listen to the delta signal. It's not really that useful because there's an oversample filter, fear filter, and you hear that with the delta button. So you will always hear that there's a slight change of the signal. So it's not as useful as in other plugins, but anyway, it's there. It could be good sometimes to hear what you do. And below that, you have the sample frequency. This plugin is always oversampled 2 times, and this is just a little readout, so you see what internal sample rate the plugin is working with. So that's it. That's Chokidar. I hope you like it, and as I said, I will add a manual as soon as I have time. So have a nice day, and see you again soon.